What's up? Are we live? I don't even know. What's going on, Tennessee family? I think we're live. This is my first time doing Facebook takeovers, so bear with me. I'm Cierra Burdick. I graduated Tennessee in 2015. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, but had the privilege and the pleasure to play with the Lady Vols from 2011 to 2015. I was recruited by Coach Summit and played my freshman year under Coach Pat, and then we had the transition and Holly Warlick took over, and I finished my career under her reign with fantastic assistants: Dean Lockwood, Kyra Elsie, Jolette Law, and also my first year I had Big Boss the Moss. So shout out to the whole coaching crew. Love them dearly. They were a huge part of my growth and just helping me become the woman I am today. So feel free to drop any questions in the comment box. Hopefully I'll see those. If you do have any questions, I can get those answered. That'll kind of make my life a little bit easier. Otherwise, I'm going to completely just talk to this computer screen and hope that somebody somewhere is listening. If not, that's all right too. I'll just kind of talk to myself. So my journey started, I started playing basketball when I was 5 years old. I knew almost probably when I was in the 7th grade that I had a chance to make a career out of basketball. I mean, I knew when I was 5 years old that I wanted to play in college and that I wanted to play professionally. But I think it was in 7th grade that I realized, like, hey, I'm an all right basketball player and I might be able to take this somewhere. And it was actually at a Phenom hoops camp. It was like one of the invite only, and it was in San Diego, California. And my mom and my nana and I all went to it, and that's kind of where I put my name on the radar in terms of being, one of the top players in the class of 2011. Funny story, one of my good friends, Elizabeth Williams, was also there. And we had both gotten selected to play in the All-Star game of the camp. And, I thought I had played terrible, and I was over on the sideline throwing a little temper tantrum, I think, and my mom was like, get your act together, basically. And they're beginning to, go over who was like MVP of the camp and who was like the top performers of the camp. And, in my head I'm thinking, it's E, like, of course. And I start untying my shoes, not thinking anything of it, and they announced the MVP, and they announced me. And one of my teammates had to, like, kind of nudge me, like, Sierra, they just called your name. I was completely shocked. I thought I had played terrible. So once I got the MVP of that, invite Phenom camp, I was like, hey, this can be kind of the beginning of something special. And so 7th grade is when I started getting recruiting mail. But I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, like I mentioned before, so it's ACC City. I grew up a Duke Blue Devil fan. My mentor, Joy Cheek, went there. She played under Coach G there, and I just wanted to do everything that Joy did. So I had in my mind set that, I was going to go to Duke. That's where I was going to play. And then they had a coaching change, and Coach G went to Texas, and Coach P came to Duke. So that changed some things. And I started leaning more towards UNC Chapel Hill. Thought I was going to commit there for a while. And this is all like freshman year in high school, so still pretty young. And I remember my 9th grade year, my sports marketing class, Mr. Barbaro, he said, why don't you consider Tennessee? He was a big Tennessee fan, lived in Tennessee for a period of time. And, I'm, again, ACC City through and through. And I'm like, Tennessee, SEC, Pat Summitt, no way, she yells too much. Like, I had all these reasons of why I couldn't even consider Tennessee. And then, lo and behold, of course, you say never. It ends up happening. So, after going through the recruiting process, I kind of narrowed it down to UNC, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And then eventually it was just South Carolina and Tennessee. Have a ton of respect for the South Carolina staff. Even when I was getting recruited by them, I thought, this is one of the best staffs in the country. Everybody was like, South Carolina, what? And I was like, listen, just wait. They're going to be something special. They got something brewing over here. This staff is amazing. They had Dawn Staley, Coach Boyer, Nikki McCray, who was a former Lady Vol. So just really impressive staff, and only an hour and a half from home. And I just knew that they were on the cusp of doing something great. And then I remember going to visit, Tennessee. And again, it was myself, my mom, my nana, and my papa, and I think, we had gone for the weekend or something like that. And it was October, I remember that. I think we had gone to a football game. And this is of my junior year now, October of my junior year. And I just remember, at the end of any recruiting trip, the coaching staff sits you down almost in a conference room, and they'll play, stuff on whether it be a PowerPoint or a slideshow, of just all the reasons of why you should go there. And so they put that on the TV, and we watched it, and then it goes off, and there's like almost like an awkward moment of silence, like after the film stops playing, and then Pat speaks up, and she's like, "So what are you waiting for?" And I couldn't answer. She was basically like, "What's holding you back from committing? What is it?" And I had no answer for her. And so that's kind of how I knew. I knew that Knoxville was the place that I was supposed to be in, and Coach Summitt was the coach I was supposed to play for, and I knew I wanted to be a part of the Lady Vol family. And this was without even going to a Lady Vol basketball game. I had never gone to a Lady Vol basketball game, and I committed to play there. And so, there's the little pupils that tells you if people are watching. Oh, well, good. Glad I'm not talking to a screen. Hey, everyone. 17 people, not too shabby. Anyways, so that's how I knew that I was supposed to become a Tennessee Lady Vol, and I played my senior year and finished that up, and then I was packing my bags and headed to Knoxville, and I think it was one of the best decisions of my life. I get a lot of questions of like, do you think you could have been a different player? Just my matter of fact, just my dad asked me this this week. He said, "Do you think you could have been a different player if you would have went to South Carolina, or is there something that you maybe wish you would have changed?" And I said, very honestly, I said, player-wise, I maybe could have came out a bit different. Maybe I could have been a little bit more polished if I went to South Carolina. But I said the growth that I made as a person and as a child of God, and the connections that I made, and the networking I was able to do, and all that I was able to accomplish through my time at Tennessee, that is immeasurable. And there's no way, I don't think, I could have become who I am today if I would have went to a different school. And so I'm so grateful for my time at Tennessee, and with the staff that I had, and the unbelievable support system that we had there, from our academic advisors to our trainers to our nutritionist. I believe we had the top tier of staff to help us succeed on and off the court, and beyond grateful for that. I think I've become a whole person because of my time in Tennessee, not just an athlete, but a well-rounded young woman. And I know that's what Pat strived to do and to create through the culture that she built is to, not only help women succeed on the court, but to succeed off of it. And through her leadership and through her program and through the culture that she's built, I've just been able to have awesome opportunities. And I'm really grateful for my time as a Lady Vol, and wouldn't have changed it for the world. Through the ups and downs, through the transition, myself and Isabel Harrison and Ariel Massengale, I think we were faced with some significant difficulties in terms of our college career. There wasn't a book written on how to handle, a transition like that, where, the head of the snake, Coach Summit, unfortunately gets sick, and, you've got to transition this program smoothly into new leadership, and under the microscope that the Lady Vol program that was under, and the way our staff handled it, and the way that the players on board handled it, and how everybody stayed loyal even through the transition. We didn't have a single transfer. I think that speaks magnitude to just the program that we were a part of, and the people that we were buying into, and just the group that we were. We loved each other. To this day, we talk just about every day on our group message, and I'm 6 years removed from Tennessee. So my teammates are truly my sisters. And, I'm beyond grateful for their friendship, for their love, for their sisterhood. And, that extends far greater than even, the 4 years, the 4 sets of rosters that I played with. I've got people in my contact list that I can call right now that I didn't play with that are a part of the Lady Vol family. Candace Parker, Kara Lawson, Tamika Catchings, Shamika Holsclaw. These are Michelle Marciniak. These are players that are older than me, but because of that Lady Vol sisterhood, it runs deep. And I know we look out for each other. And if there was anything that I needed, I could always call them, and they would be more than willing to help and just be an ear to listen to, and a mind to pick. So I'm just super grateful for the Lady Vol sisterhood and kind of what we stand for. After I left at Tennessee, I definitely missed the family atmosphere. That was huge. And I say this, I've got my own youth organization in Charlotte now, One Dream, and I've got 4 teams, roughly 35 girls. And, one of the biggest things I tell them about the difference between, youth and college basketball versus the pros is you miss that family atmosphere. Once you go to the professional setting, your team and your roster is changing on a year-to-year basis. Whereas, when you're growing up, sometimes you're with the same team for 4 or 5 years. Then when you go to college, you're with the same team for 4 years. But then when you get pro, everything changes, and you really miss that family atmosphere, the camaraderie, the constant laughter and the jokes, and just the sisterhood, the true bond that you have from college. So that was definitely an adjustment, going from the college game to the pro side of things. It becomes a business, and it's no longer, you're not as close knit and tight as you were in college, but you definitely have more independence and more freedom. And so with each new stage of your life, there's new responsibilities, and there's pros and cons, and you learn to navigate that as you go. And so since turning pro, I've played in the WNBA. I was drafted to LA, played in Atlanta for a season and a half, played half a season in New York, finished up a season in San Antonio. And now I am in the Wubble in Bradenton, Florida, playing for the Las Vegas Aces. We actually have a game tonight against Minnesota. It's on ESPN at 9 o'clock if you guys want to tune in. Should be a really good game. We're both in second place right now. So a little plug right there for my Lady Aces. But that's in the WNBA. And then overseas, I have played in Italy, Israel, Russia, and Poland. I always get the question, where's my favorite place to play so far? And I will say overall, my favorite place to play was in Poland. I spent 2 seasons there, from 2018 to 2020, and just overall the competitiveness of the league, the city that I lived in, my teammates, my coaching staff, the club, just everything, all together. Like, Poland was my favorite place to play. In terms of living, Israel was amazing. I lived on the beach. The food was unbelievable. Everyone speaks English, super easy to get around, to get along. My teammates were amazing. And they are really big on just family time in Israel. So every Friday night they have Shabbat, and so one of the highlights of my week was always going to one of my teammates' house for Shabbat. And the best way I can explain it is like Thanksgiving meal on steroids every Friday. Like, that is what it's like. It is legit. How I did not gain 20 pounds that season, I don't know, but the plates just keep coming. It's like an assembly line of plates of amazing food, and it is impressive. So, in terms of just living, the food, the people, I loved Israel. But the basketball league itself is not one of my favorite. So altogether, I would have to vote Poland. Russia was hard. Russia was a hard place to live. It's dark almost all day. The snow was unreal. I took quite a few falls when I was there, just because I am born in the South and I do not know how to deal with snow of that magnitude in nature. And I kid you not, by the middle of summer, snow was packed up like 5 feet on the sidewalks. So it was no joke. It was definitely an adjustment, and we also couldn't drive there. So we had to either walk to the gym which is what we did. We walked to the gym, and we practiced twice a day, every day, 2 hours each practice. So we were typically at the gym from 5 to 6 hours a day, every single day. And so that was just brutal. And then Italy was interesting because it was my first year, and that was really hard, being away from family, being in a different country, not speaking the language. My coach didn't speak English, so that was a language barrier. Every single time I talk about Italy, I have to give a shout out to Noelle Quinn. She was the other American that played with me during that time. She's now an assistant coach for the Seattle Storm, but she saved my life there. If it was not for her, I would not have made it. At this point, she was like a seasoned vet. It was like her 10th professional year. And she truly did just get me through that season. So shout out to you, Noels. Would not have been able to do that without you. And yeah, where else did I play? I think that covers it. Yeah, Italy, Russia, Israel, and Poland. I have not signed anywhere for this upcoming season. Just kind of weighing my options on what's ahead and what's going to come about. A lot of countries in Europe aren't even letting Americans into the country right now because of everything that's going on with the virus. So we'll just see. I'm a big believer in just taking it one day at a time. And so right now I'm here in the Wubble, and this is where all my energy and effort is being placed. So we will see what the next couple months unfold. And let me see if there was something else that I needed to talk about. Again, feel free to drop any questions if you have any. That'll make my life a little bit easier. However, I've gone 19 minutes straight just talking to myself, and that is pretty impressive. I need Maria Cornelius. She's usually like the person that mediates all the interviews and stuff for the Lady Vols. So Maria, where are you when I need you? I can just try to think of my own questions that I've gotten in the past. Things that I've learned from Pat. I think the biggest thing I learned from Pat, not necessarily about what she said, or even though she's got unbelievable quotes all over the internet in a whole book, and just aside from her knowledge of the game in the sport. Just witnessing her humility firsthand was really special. And I always tell people, the way that Pat would talk to the President of the United States is the same way that Pat would talk to the janitors that would clean up after practices and after games in the arena. She was so humble and so generous with her time, and she made sure that she signed every single autograph that was asked of her, and she made sure that she acknowledged every person that came in the room. There was not ever a sense of, oh, I'm better than anybody. That's not who she was, even though she had all the right to be. 8 national championships, winningest coach in basketball history. You never saw a sign like that. Just her humility and her love for her players and for the program that she built was truly special. And I think she was a mentor and a mother figure. She loved us to death, and I think her players were far more important than any championship she ever won. So just an incredible human being. It was a blessing to be even a part of her family. When I committed there, you just know. And I tell my young players that all the time. When you are going through the recruiting process and you're weighing out your options with schools, and I'm like, there's something, you can't really explain it, but there's something inside you when you're at the right school with the right staff. You just know. And that's how I feel and how I felt with Coach Summit and Deanie and Big Boss DeMoss and Holly. It was just it was like home, home away from home. And so Knoxville became my second home. I love getting back there when I can. I wish I could go back there more often. I wish my schedule allowed it. But I'm definitely grateful for the time that I do get to go back. Just super grateful for my time with Pat. I got to give a shout out to Deanie because I love Deanie and I miss him. And I hope he sees this clip. I don't know how, but I need to FaceTime him soon. There was endless occasions when Dean and I would just be in the office at like 9 o'clock at night, and whether it be after a game or that I didn't play well in and I was just frustrated, or whether it be we were working out late and then we just got to talking about Navy SEALs or whatever the case may be. Deanie was like a true father figure. On Father's Day, I always shoot him a text and tell him Happy Father's Day, even though he doesn't have any kids. He's got 144 of us, or however many Lady Vols that he coached. So he was super helpful in my growth and my development, and we spent countless, endless hours in the gym, and never did he ever say no. I was constantly texting him, calling him, hey Deanie, can we get in the gym? Hey Deanie, can we stay after practice? Hey Deanie, can we go before practice? And it was always yes. It was always yes. And I think Deanie is a large reason of why I am where I am today and who I am as a player. Just the countless reps that we put in and the hours that we put in the gym that nobody ever saw. I think he was a huge part of me just growing as a player, and me even having the chance to play in the WNBA and to play professional basketball. I don't think I was like one of the stars of college basketball. I was just a solid player that was on the bubble. Like maybe she'll play in the WNBA, maybe. But it just goes to show, what hard work can do, and time and just surrounding yourself with the right people. It's huge. So I think I'll close off with a little piece of advice that I tend to give my younger players, but I think it can be valuable to anybody. Take life one day at a time. Put your faith in something bigger than yourself, and do your part to give back and to make a difference. I think we all have a platform to spread love and light, and in the world that we're living in right now, it's critical. It's critical to be a positive voice. It's critical to be a positive being. It's critical to create the change that we want to see in the world. And whether it's with our family or with our friends or with our communities and with our cities, with our nation, we all have a platform, whether it be small or big. And we all have a responsibility to make a difference and to leave this world a little better than when we found it. So, I just challenge everybody to do just that. Spread some love, spread some light. Check in with your family, check in with your friends, make sure everybody's doing well. Be a shoulder for people to lean on, and take care of yourself. Protect your peace. Self-care is essential right now, and I hope everybody is doing well. I hope this finds you all doing well. Thank you for your time. Thanks for tuning in with me for 26 minutes. You can follow me at C_Burdick11 on Twitter and Instagram. If you have any questions, anything that you want to follow up with, I'd be happy to answer that. I'm pretty active on this when I'm not on the court, so you're more than welcome to hit me up and let me know. Oh, Emily, can you see the comments? No, I can't see the comments. There's been comments? Hold on, we're having a little technical difficulties. I guess there's been a comment. What is one of my favorite games during your UT career? Okay, Emily's going to help me out because I can't see the comments because I'm technologically challenged. So one of my favorite games during my UT career would definitely be against Gonzaga. Gonzaga. I think my senior year is who we played. Now I'm going to fact check, so hold on. Because I do not want to get this wrong. Lady Vols versus Gonzaga. Bear with me. Yes. March 28th, 2015. It was the Sweet 16 game. And I actually just rewatched this like a few months ago. And we were down 16, maybe even 17, with 6 minutes left. And we came back and won in overtime. And Gonzaga definitely had the home court advantage. We were playing in Spokane, Washington, so the entire arena was filled with their fans, and we just had a little patch of orange of just our family behind our bench. And then obviously the loyal, diehard Tennessee fans that made that West Coast trip, God bless them, to watch us play. So that was one of the craziest games of my life. I think it's still we came back from it was the third largest deficit, the second or third largest deficit for a team to ever come back and win in the NCAA tournament. I need Debbie Jennings to she was the media person for Pat for Pat's entire career, and she is the Lady Vol encyclopedia. So I need her to double check that fact. But I know when it happened, we were the second or third largest margin to come back and win. So that was pretty neat. And then unfortunately we fell to Maryland 2 days later in the Elite 18. The Elite 8. And my career was over just like that. So we went from being on cloud 9 to completely heartbroken. So that's sports though. That's sports for you. Another question. Lesson you learned from Pat or basketball overall that you've carried with you? Definitely the humility, like I mentioned before, and to just make a difference. I think that's huge. You know, she was always pushing to do the right thing and to leave a greater impact. And she did that. You know, women's basketball is what we know it today because of her. You know, we have games on ESPN tonight because she fought for that. You know, we weren't getting televised games when she was coaching in her 20s. She fought for that. She created the buzz around women's basketball. And I think we owe how far it's come and the growth that the game has been able to accomplish to Pat Summitt. She was the trailblazer that led the way. And, you know, I think we all owe a great deal of gratitude for Coach and just the sacrifices that she made for the greater good of the game. And so I think that's one of the lessons that I will continue to carry with me, is to just leave a legacy and to make to the biggest impact that you can, to create a positive environment for those around you. And then another question is, what's it like in the bubble? So, like, I can go through, like, a daily routine. It changes because our schedule is never the same each day. But we wake up, obviously. And then at some point during the day, if it's a game day, we'll have testing. So we get tested every single day. Each team has, like, a 30-minute time slot throughout the day where we'll go downstairs and we'll get tested. And that changes every day. And then on game days, we have an hour shoot around if it's a late game. If it's an early game, like 5 p.m. or earlier, we won't have a shoot around. But 6 o'clock and later, there is an hour shoot around. On off days, it's all about rest because we're playing back to back. And because my minutes have been scarce lately, the off days are really my game days. That's when I get my lifts in, my runs in, and then also our practices. Our practices are pretty light. We'll go over our opponents' like offensive sets, their baseline out of bounds, their sideline out of bounds, just making sure we're prepared for the next game. And then we'll also fine-tune like a few of our offensive stuff, just making sure that we're staying sharp and still executing the way we need to. But Bill is definitely a player's coach. You know, he was a player, so he gets it. He knows everybody's body is tired at this point. You know, we've got players playing 30, 35, 38 minutes a game. So it's imperative that, you know, on the days that we do not have games, that they're really getting their rest. So we typically let the starters basically just, we'll go through, fine-tune some offensive stuff, and then they'll shoot free throws. And then the second group will, you know, go through some more up and down offensive execution. And then we'll go over our scout, and that's about it. And then you can work with the trainers, and we've got ice tubs that we'll do after practices. We've got meals here, so all of our meals are downstairs, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that's available to you if you want it, or people can do Uber Eats or Grubhub and order food in from outside the bubble. There's a few lakes or ponds around here on campus, so there's been some people fishing. I don't have a fishing pole, so if somebody wants to send me a fishing pole or a football or a frisbee, I'd be more than happy to accept it. And the address is IMG Academy and Las Vegas Aces, or Cierra Burdick, attention Las Vegas Aces. So if you want to send, be generous and send your girl a football or a frisbee. I will greatly appreciate it. And we do have cornhole that's available. We've got a pool downstairs that's also available. And I'm actually staying in the hotel. There's also the villas, which are like bigger houses that some teams are staying at. And then there's apartments called the Lodge, which are closer to our practice courts, where other people are staying as well. So we are very much so isolated. I've said this a few times now, I think the NBA bubble and the WNBA bubble are probably the safest places in the country right now, to be honest. I think we're going on 3 weeks with no cases in the bubble. So that's pretty huge. And I think that will round up the questions. So I hope this has been a little bit enjoyable and not totally boring. Again, love my Tennessee family, love my Lady Vol family. Appreciate y'all's time, and I'm gonna end this live video now. Have a great day. Have a great week. I don't even know what week it. What day is it? Thursday. I just know if it's a practice day or a game day. So have a great weekend coming up. Get out and vote. Love y'all. Have a good one.